Hello, 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 and welcome to another video. There's 2 days left, so there might not be another live. Depends how I feel. Really depends how I feel, and I hope you can forgive me for that. The end of the season is always rough. But I wanted to show you a couple more wins I got today to get to rank 694. I'll wake up tomorrow and be rank 378,000, but, you know, what have you. So in this fight against someone in the Shadows Guild in Global, I first pick Senya because Ilanov is banned. They go for a Tywin and Solitis, which tells me that they want Genoa, so I'm going to go ahead and take Genoa and DJB, because DJB is almost always good into Solitis. They respond with Karina, which is perfectly fine, and then Benny Maru, which immediately set off red flags in my head. The only reason they would pick Benny Maru into DJB is if they are protection set a Tywin. So I have to pick 2 units that one of which they really want to get rid of, because I need Genoa for this to work. So I pick Celine and Mort. They last pick Knockwall, which has 0 chance of getting through the draft, and they get rid of Celine, and I'm like, okay, I have a game plan before we've even started, which is something very rare. As I suspected, they are a barrier set, a Tywin, which is perfect, because I have a Senya and a Genua. Senya, and Genua. So hey, Benny Maru, you have an AoE that you can't help but do if somebody procs multi-scale on you. So, what if I, a mere plebeian, were to go ahead and proc it anyway? This is one of very few examples where you would want to proc someone's ability regardless. Benny Maru, he can either S1 and do nothing and die, or he can S1, proc 2 of my units, and then die. So I am fine with either. DJB dies, but he did exactly what he needed to do. Senya very obviously lives. A Tywin's coming up next. Karina can cut as well, but I have immunity. I have double immunity on Senya. Gonna go ahead, kill Benny Maru, actually get the dual attack from Mort because he wanted to join in. Karina's gonna proc, but I do not care. I have a Mort. They can go into Genoa, it's not gonna defense break. They can go into Senya, try to kill her before she inevitably wipes them off the face of the map. They go for the latter. If I don't think it breaks the barrier. It didn't break the barrier. So a Tywin, last ditch effort. Soul burns this. He's not going to make it past the turn. But sure, Mort decides to just throw a little bit of indignation onto the team. And now Senya gets to S3 and physically destroy their entire existence. And now Mort gets to step on them, but we don't get to see the animation because they didn't want that to happen. And then we got another fight. We got Renatitos, or Renatitos, however you want to say it, in the Ruvas Guild in Global. They first pick Ilanov. Understandable. I pick a Tywin and Laya because a Tywin is one of the only tanks I have built that doesn't rely on defense penetration, like LRK or Ilanov or Yolha. So a Tywin it is, and Laya just in case they want to go nonsense knockwall stuff. They go for Solitis Genoa, which is understandable. So I lock in Amiki and Karina. And they respond with Alencia, which is perfectly fine, and Ruel. And I lock in SBA because they need to get rid of SBA or their entire team will explode. And I get rid of Solitus because without that they have no speed control. But unfortunately for them, my A Tywin doesn't need rage buff to stun bitches. So I stun the Ilanov, which is perfect. I stun the Ruel, which is equally perfect. Alencia can do whatever the hell she wants. And this person is going to get very clearly shown why elemental disadvantage is nonsense. Amiki's going to counter and provoke, which is fantastic. It's going to proc Karina. So let's go ahead. Pop Genoa. Let's see. I have a 2/3 chance of provoking the Ilanov, so let's S1. I either get A Tywin, Amiki. That works as well. So now everybody's going into Amiki. Amiki is countering up a storm. She very much does not care. She's actually going to proc. Push up above the Ilanov. So let's go ahead and go into the Ruel, get her low. Dual attack into the Ilanov just to provoke her as well. It's going super fast and I can't do anything about it. Ilanov dies. I provoke the Ruel because I don't want her using her skills. They get a dual attack into A Tywin. I counter. Again, Amiki decided to eat her cereal this morning and, you know, just kind of go ham. Let's provoke Ruel again. And then they give up because Laya's frozen. I was going to S1 twice. And I was just going to make sure that Laya had her S3. Laya had her S3. And, like, who do they get back at that point? And then the last fight, Sushi is good, which I agree. In the Omega WPN guild in Global, they go for Flan. So I go Ilanov, LRK, to which they respond with Senya. And I'm like, okay, they're banning Ilanov. And Solitaria to make sure that I don't take Solitaria. So I took Shaltir. To which they responded with Amiki and Nakwal. I respond with Zio and Yolha, so I will still have a major tank. And yeah, perfectly fine. So Zio's gonna go. We are going to push back the Solitaria. Do a good amount of damage to her. Shaltir is just not gonna give a shit. And we're gonna kill Flan. This is also an immensely fast Amiki. Because it was about the same speed as my LRK. Which is kind of crazy. But we're gonna go ahead S3. Ilanov's gonna... Or, LRK is gonna do this. They can do whatever they want with Amiki. Sure. That actually didn't do too much. I'm going to try to provoke the Solitaria, but we miss. Which is unfortunate, but they are forced to S1, but they immediately strip and stun my LRK, because what else would happen? But they do give a nice chonky barrier to Shelt here, and to everyone, really. Except for LRK, because he got unbuffable as well. But I am going to eat that damage up. Amiki's going to counter. It's not going to kill. We just need to get rid of this Senya while we can. So, let's soul burn this, do some injury damage into Senya. Make sure she can't do quite as much. I think they kill Zio here. They do. Solitaria gets to go again. She can S3, she can S1. Either way, I'm fine. They wouldn't be able to stun because they're on Abyssal, so their S2 doesn't have a strip. Only their S1 has a strip. My cats are playing. So they're gonna go into LRK. Doesn't stun, thankfully. Yoha, why don't we test this Amiki? Oh, this Amiki has no effect res. They do get a free dual attack, which provokes my LRK, which is unfortunate. I'm gonna S3 into Shaltir, or with Shaltir into Senya. They're provoked into Yoha, but now I have very good information. Hold on. I have very good information. This Amiki has no effect res. They're going to S1 get another stun because Abyssal Crown has 3 billion% chance to stun. However, it does keep giving my Shaltir a nice barrier, which is fantastic. They are going to counter, but thankfully for the barrier, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to pop me out of stealth. Senya has a long time until her S3 is ready. Yoha is absorbing just so much damage, and I love it. They're going to do this. I do get stunned, but I'll get out of it. I'll go back into stealth. Still doesn't break. And LRK now has his S3 available. So Solitary is dead. Amiki is going to proc. But we obtained very valuable information earlier. Can you remember what information we learned earlier? That's right. Amiki has no effect res, which means I can S1 the Amiki. So instead of her S3ing, why don't you just go into Yoha and proc her? Thank you! Thank you for being a great sport, Amiki. And that's why res checking is always important, because I would have gone this entire game just thinking that Amiki had ER. She didn't. She didn't, and then I abused it. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I love all of you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.